And welcome to another edition of South Texas Crossfire. This is attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week right here on KTMV. Special thanks to my good friend Carlos Lopez. You guessed it, the Ted Turner of South Texas Broadcasting. And let's not forget the Lopez family. Don Humberto Lopez, who passed away this year. You are not forgotten. You are honored. A giant of a man who made this station possible, the little engine that could, and now sponsors politics and also society, how to deal with problems that are going on in our culture. And let me tell you, I have the honor of bringing on somebody who's going to be talking about a foundation that is helping children and is getting the word out and is on a mission. And I welcome a great person, a great family that she comes from, Barbara Canales. How are you?
Hi, Joe. Fine. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's an honor to have you on, and I heard about your organization a couple of years back. I know you've been so busy, and I want to get into that. But first, a lot of people have heard the name, but they don't know about your family, and I want to talk about that a little bit and about your background. Tell us a little bit.
Okay. Well, born and raised in Corpus Christi. That I'm very, very proud of. And my family has been here since the early 1950s as far as living and working here. But as my beloved and late grandmother, Dr. Cleo, would say, hey, we've been here since the 1500s.
That's right.
You know, with the Spanish land grant. So my grandmother was Dr. Clotilde Garcia, but we all called her, everyone in town called her Dr. Cleo, or La Doctora.
I remember her, yes.
And she is an incredible inspiration to me, even today. And I really feel like that she sort of lives as a matriarch in heaven for the Canales Garcia clan. And of course, her brothers were also incredible contributors to South Texas. Her older brother, Dr. J.A. Garcia, and her other older brother, Dr. Hector Garcia, of course, the founder of the American GI Forum, and incredible humanitarian and civil rights leader. And so I feel like once upon a time, I think when Dr. Hico passed away, I said something, and I said it from the heart, but I think, you know, when I look back, it was probably the most important thing I've ever said, and that was this, that I feel like I grew up in the redwood forest. Amongst giants. And that's what it was like for me. And people ask me all the time, you know, why are you so interested, you know, in community, or why do you feel so obligated, you know, to public service? And I think the answer is I didn't know any different. I simply understood at a very young age that giving was what was expected. And my father and mother, Tony and Yolanda Canales, are also great community stewards here, and my father's an attorney. I'm the oldest of three, Joe. My sister Patricia Canales Bell and my little brother Hector Antonio Canales are also lawyers like myself, and they practice with my dad. I'm the black sheep, Joe. I'm the only one that doesn't really practice at the law firm, but I still maintain my own small private practice in law. But, and I, of course, am the mother of 5 children, and I'm very, very proud of each and every one of them. So can you believe I have a 21-year-old daughter? I don't know why, but I'm just really shocked by that.
Yeah, I mean, how time passes by.
How time passes so fast.
Child bride, if you will.
Exactly.
Yes,
but all our family is from South Texas. My grandmother, Elvira, who is also a great inspiration because she's a true South Texas woman. She was born on the ranch in San Diego, Texas, and our little place, you know, outside San Diego on a ranch. And now, ironically, that is a piece of property that my father now owns. So from both sides of my family, the roots come very deep. My grandfather was from Rialitos. My mother was born in San Diego. My great-grandmother lived in Alice. We don't even say Alice, Alice. You know,
my stomping grounds,
you know,
hometown.
these I consider everything south of San Antonio true South Texas, and that is where we're from. My father, of course, and the Garcias were born in Mercedes.
Well, you know, and a lot of people, you know, wonder about, you know, where people get their desire to serve. Mm-hmm. And you've kind of laid it out there that it's really sort of stewardship. It's a duty. It's an honor to help people down here because this is where you are from, and
Yes.
you embrace it. I mean,
I love it. I ask anybody that you know has a child at WB Ray. I mean, I wear from my alma mater in high school, you know, the R very, very proudly. I'm proud to be a Texan. I think that's what, to be honest with you, is lacking. You know, I realize that our community has many things that we could still advance ourselves in. You know, there are many opportunities where we could do better, but I think we have to be very proud of things that make Corpus Christi and the Coastal Bend very special. And when I travel, I tell people I am from Corpus Christi, Texas. You know, home of, you know, the fifth largest port in the United States. We have the University, Texas A&M at Corpus Christi, which houses one of the finest marine science, institutes, the Hart Institute. I talk about our beautiful, Padre Island and how we're the, incredible national seashore. I try to embrace what I think is special, and it gives me a lot of pride, to call Corpus Christi my home.
Well, and it just underlines that one person, each of us in our own unique way, that really are proud of where we're from. We're trying to give back, through this program, and like Carlos Lopez and his family, they really are pioneers too in media, and they help shape our culture and how we perceive it. And so when I heard about your organization, I said, someday I'm going to bring her on and talk about Ready or Not Foundation.
Thank you. Well, as my dad says, I never hush. I mean, I love to talk, but I specifically love to talk about Ready or Not Foundation. And what I have learned is as passionate as I am about it, there are a lot of people that don't know anything about Ready or Not. So
That's
I'm
right.
very appreciative to you and to the Lopez family for giving me an opportunity to tell everybody. Some people know me as a lawyer. Some people might remember that I'm also an engineer. I have a background in petroleum engineering. That's my degree from the university. But what most people don't know is I would say more than 50% of my day is dedicated to running and fostering Ready or Not Foundation.
And tell us a little bit about Ready or Not Foundation, and why you launched this on behalf of your beautiful daughter, Jackie.
Yes. Well, I started this foundation in 2007, almost at the end of 2007. And what had happened the year before, Joe, is really what inspired me to create this organization. In January of 2006, I was having lunch, almost like a working meeting, when I got a phone call from from the school nurse that my little girl, Jackie, she's my baby of 5, and she was only 6 years old at the time, in first grade, very excited. She had just, had finished her first semester of first grade, that she had bumped her head on a tree. They have these beautiful oak trees at Incarnate Word on the elementary playground.
Yes.
And she was playing hide and go seek. And she was running, and sometimes when we run and we think someone's going to catch us, what do? We look over our shoulder, and then we look back, and boom.
Boom, yeah.
So she hit her head, but she seemed to be okay. But when she went into the classroom, she kind of put her head down, and she exhibited the signs of possible concussion. So she was taken to the nurse, and they called me, and they said, I wouldn't be too alarmed, but we think you should come over. So I did, and what happened next was we made a decision to go get her checked out, with her doctor. Now, I'm very lucky because our pediatrician happens to be Dr. Lene Canales. Ring a bell? Canales?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, Lene Canales, thank God, married my brother. She's a girl who hails from Connecticut, and they met at Dartmouth in college. And she came to Texas and is a wonderful doctor here. And I called her, and by pure luck or God's grace, she said, I am at Driscoll, it's my morning off. I'm making rounds. Why don't you just come on over? First miracle, right? She's not in the office, she's at the hospital. I'm at Incarnate Word, so close. I'm there in 2 minutes. And she says to me, just to be completely safe, let's run a CAT scan. To this day, she doesn't really know why she said those words, because it would be as medically prudent to have ordered it or to not have ordered it. You know, Jackie didn't have a cut or a big bump. She wasn't exceptionally red. What she was mad. She was mad that the 3 boys that were chasing her, you know, made her bump her head on the tree. That's what she was feisty about that morning. She's, you know, in that term, I guess she's definitely Garcia Canales, you know, with her feistiness. And so Lene says, Dr. Canales says, you'll be out like that. So I promised Jackie ice cream, and we go in. And we never left, Joe, because the technician came into me and said, we are going to run an MRI, a magnetic resonance imaging. Very high-tech.
You were like, why?
Yeah, and a high-tech exam, very expensive exam. You know, you do this when you have, you know, more serious injury. And I knew something was wrong. At this time, I'm thinking it has to do with the bump on the tree. You right? I mean, that's the logical. You know, maybe she's got a little bleed or something they saw on the CAT scan. And so I said, well, I don't think so. I said, you know, we were just doing this out of abundance of precaution.
Sure.
And he says, ma'am, I have to insist. Would you please come with me? Well, I knew something was terribly wrong.
Sure.
About that time, I hear my sister-in-law's heels coming down the corridor there at Driscoll. You know, you can hear a woman's heels.
Clock, yeah.
And my heart started to race. And she brought me in a room, and she never had before in her practice of medicine had to tell anybody that they had had a tumor. I was her first, and her niece was her first patient to be told they had a brain tumor. And she said that it was big and that I needed to call, you know, Jackie's father. I knew it was very serious, and I broke down. I was beyond, you know, consoling. But I had to get it together because the next 45 minutes was an MRI that completely scanned the brain, that revealed a tumor about the size of my hands that I'm showing you right here. And it was about the size of an orange. And it was located on the left side, what the medical terminology is the cerebellum, down here low. And it was occupying that whole space. And it was hitting very close to the brainstem, which was incredibly, incredibly dangerous. The brainstem controls every function that we have. You know, our breathing, our ability to walk and talk and eat. It's the central part that makes everything work. So, Joe, for the next year and a half, Jackie endured 2 brain surgeries to completely remove that tumor. If I showed you an x-ray of her brain today, you would see nothing right here because they had to remove everything.
Thank God.
They gave her radiation treatment to the brain, 33 treatments, and a year and a half of chemotherapy. And when she finished, they said there is a very, very high likelihood that this is going to come back. In fact, I'm very sorry to tell you, but this is a terminal diagnosis. And they gave her her wish, and we did a Make-A-Wish trip. And, you know, they prepare you as a parent that this is not a tumor that they have a cure for. In fact, they don't know what causes these brain tumors. They don't know how to cure them. They just know this is the best method that they can put together. And I said, well, what happens if it comes back? And the doctor said, well, there's really nothing we can do. And Joe, for the first time in my life, you know, I'm a problem solver.
Exactly.
You know, I mean,
yes.
This is what I do. I mean, this is what lawyers do. It's what engineers do. It's what the Garcias do.
And we have control.
Right,
we have control. We can solve things.
Even when we see injustice.
We can do something about it.
We can do something, but we can speak out. We can advocate. I watched my uncles and my grandmother and my father fight for people who couldn't fight for themselves.
Yes.
That's what I was trained to do. I didn't realize my mission on this earth was to do the very thing that I needed to do for Jackie. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I wanted to do it for Jackie. Today, my mission's a little different, and I'll explain later. But my focus was on How can I make this better? It's totally unacceptable to me
Right.
that there is no cure. What do you mean there's no more chemotherapy? There's no more. He says, that's all. It's all we have. And they begin to tell me that in the last 30 years, that there's been no new drugs for pediatric cancer. In the last 30 years, there's been no real breakthrough for pediatric cancer. And worse, he tells me that every day 9 children are diagnosed with brain tumors. Every day. Joe, that's 2 classrooms by the end of the week. And then he says that 9 children die of cancer every day. Again, 2 classrooms every day. Do you remember when some of the children died from the swine flu, a couple years back?
Sure.
We panicked as a country.
That's right.
Why aren't we panicking now? Our children are dying every day. So I knew I couldn't tackle everything, but I knew that maybe I could do something about brain tumors.
And that was Ready or Not Foundation.
And that was the beginning of the idea of Ready or Not.
Well, I want you to stay right here because we're on something so important and one of the most important shows we've ever done. We're going to take a brief break and you're going to learn more about the Ready or Not Foundation on this break. And when we come back, you're listening to and watching Barbara Canales talk about this poignant story that motivated her to make a change and help children when we come back.
Every day, 9 children are diagnosed with a brain tumor.
Every day, 9 children
die from pediatric cancer.
We are ready for a cure. Think about it now.
Please donate $9 today.
Forward this message.
No, this child will be gifted with love, with patience, and with faith.
Hi, this is attorney and board-certified nurse practitioner Joe Flores. I want to talk to you about something very important today, and that is hospice. Hospice care is not the end, it's only the beginning. It brings families together. Your loved one deserves the very best care, and they deserve to receive their care at home. Remember River City Hospice, 882-5900. Hope, dignity, and love. It's got to be hospice.
Have you been arrested or are potentially facing criminal charges? You need a trial attorney who is well-versed in the courtroom. Joe Flores has handled hundreds of criminal cases and many of them to trial. Joe Flores can provide you with competent representation to protect your constitutional rights in state and federal court. Joe Flores can help if you have been arrested or facing criminal charges. The law offices of Joe Flores. Equal justice for all.